Hello.
We got it.
Welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Jason Craig and I sitting on the bus today. Jason Craig, how cool is it for you to be back? You come do this with me every year, don't you?
Every year. Excited that you brought me back. I
Well,
appreciate the invite. I enjoy coming on the bus. I enjoy watching the community.
it has been
come out.
busy,
Oh my
right?
goodness, this is amazing. Just to see the response to the need within the community. The cars that are, like one currently unloading a whole trunk full.
Right? And a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
A good variety, which I've talked to several. I talked to Andrea from Winchester CCAP earlier in the week. I'm going to talk to Les Sinclair tomorrow from Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. The diversity of what people can donate really is beneficial to everyone across the board.
Was I on?
Oh, there we go. How about I turn your mic on? Then people can hear you even better. So whatever they heard through my mic.
We're here.
This
We're
is
back.
the beauty of the bus.
The beauty of the bus. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
So-
food plays an integral role in what you do. As Senior Director of Community Health for Valley Health, food is very important in overall health.
Yes, absolutely. I think, it's interesting in this role. Community health is complicated, right? So the overall health of our community is impacted by so many things, and it's not just healthcare. It's food, it's housing, it's
Transportation.
it's workforce. It's all the things that support the community as a whole to be vibrant and healthy. And I think, my background is social services, education, behavioral health, and now healthcare. I never imagined that I would learn so much about housing and food.
Working for a healthcare system.
But it all, and as I see how it impacts individuals in our community, it continues to make more and more sense on why we focus on these areas.
We've had conversations in the past around the community health needs assessment.
Yes.
That's something that Valley Health does every 3 years. And then you take those in between years to implement the things that come back in that survey. Food is always an important one. Housing is always an important one. But it's how you guys kind of gauge where your focus needs to be within the community over the next couple of years until the next survey comes out.
Yeah, it's the operating plan on the community health side, and really on the hospital side. If we think about our current needs, which focus around chronic diseases and access to care and social determinants and things like that, it drives a lot of our actions. It drives the things that we invest in from a community health side. It drives in the areas that we support from a sponsorship and marketing side. It drives the buildings that you see going up on campus right now. So we have a behavioral health pavilion that's in direct response to that community health need that was talking about. That'll be open next year in 2026. We have a rehab tower that really is going to support some of our more acute aging and individuals that experience traumatic events within our community. Those are both needs that we needed. And so we're able to kind of hear the community and respond as part of that community.
If I recall correctly, I don't think we did the show live on the bus last year. I think we had a last minute hiccup and we ended up recording it in your office. And you had me take the community health needs assessment while we were on the show and sitting there.
Thank you for being a part.
You're about to release those results, right?
January 2026 will be the official release. So our community health needs assessment, let me take this opportunity to say thank you to the Virginia Department of Health and the Lower Fairfax Health District. This was a partnership this year, a partnership with our community partners, so the stakeholders that participated in interviews and took surveys, but really the Department of Health, our local Lower Fairfax Health District, has been a lead partner.
Oh, they're truly boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, and I don't know how I would have done it without them. It's a lot of really it's a lot of data, it's a lot of interviews, it's a lot of conversations, it's engaging organizations, and them being not just a participant but a true partner in it this year has been amazing. Tara, Catherine, their team at the Department of Health, they're driving this next stage, which we can talk about a little bit, but they'll publish one as the health district, and ours will be very similar to theirs, especially for the health district areas. But our primary and secondary service area extends down into Rappahannock and in the Eastern Panhandle, West Virginia. So ours will be very ours is complementary of the health district,
but it's still a little broader in scope.
A little broader in scope. So we've had that's been approved by our board, and will be set to release in the near future, probably here soon, but definitely by January 1st, 2026, as we start the new cycle.
And then you take that information and figure out what you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Where do we need to focus some of our attention? Do we need to help other nonprofits maybe fund some programs that are on this specific area, because you see where that need has increased so much from the last 3-year cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. So our community health needs assessment drives what we consider community benefit. How we invest in our community to extend our mission in the areas that we feel through that assessment process are going to push us towards a healthier community. And some perfect examples of that, like if you think within here, Warren County, where we sit, we partnered with Reaching Out Now on their their community garden and what they're doing around teaching.
They do
students.
a food pack program.
So we partnered with the Phoenix Project and Warren County Coalition and helped them do programs that are going to are going to extend our mission, but they're not necessarily places that we would be a primary active.
Well, you can't be in all places.
Correct, yeah.
For all people and still be there when I come to the ER. Which is your primary thing, is
Yes.
treating me with an illness. And ideally, if you can prevent me from having that illness, that's good too.
Correct. But, our patient experience begins and ends in the community, right? So the ER visit, the inpatient stay, the outpatient procedures that you get, your primary care physician, how you interact with the health system it starts in the community, ends in the community. And I think that is important to note. That's why we focus on the community. How can we support people be more successful as they transition back into the community? How can we keep them healthier and not in the hospital, so that there is room for emergency situations and those routine procedures that people need? I mean, we're going to be there for all the needs. But the way that we keep people healthy and the way that we transition and then keep people healthy are important on both sides of it as well.
So we're sitting here on the Camping for Hunger bus. People are dropping off. We were talking earlier about how people have been coming in and dropping off donations. The bus will pull out of here tomorrow morning, deliver all of this food and whatever checks and cash and monetary donations have been dropped off to Front Royal CCAP. Food is the key theme this week on the Camping for Hunger bus. What role does food play in community health?
It's interesting. Over the last couple of years, we've been collecting what we call social determinant information. So social determinants it's the 80% of stuff that plays into your health. It's not healthcare.
Right.
But it's where you live. It's your health, your behaviors, things like that. And food is one of those social determinants that are important. And what we find out is within our hospital systems, about 10% of people are food insecure.
Wow.
So 10% of the people that are admitted into the hospital and leave the hospital are worried about where their next meal is going to come from. And so if you think about that, just think about the impact that has on somebody that's worried about, where am I going to get my medicine? How am I going to go home to a safe environment and maintain that safe environment while I heal? It's hugely important. And then individuals that are struggling with chronic diseases, you know, if the food that you can afford is not necessarily the food that's the best for you.
Right. Access is different from the types of food that you need to be eating. More fresh produce, more greens, you need more iron in your diet, all of those things that a drive-through at a fast food joint is not going to give you, but sometimes that's the only thing that they have access to.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, food is medicine in many cases, and I think that is that's important. And even access to healthy food too is great, but then you got to know what to do with it.
Right.
Like, I don't know how to cook a beet. Do you know how to cook a beet?
No. A beet. Yeah, you don't want to
They're
talk to
healthy
me.
for you.
You don't want to talk to me about that. I don't do vegetables.
Well, you need to. It's healthy for you.
I know. I am not the one to talk to about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when it also gets complicated, because I am sure there is a huge swath of our population that would love to eat healthier, but even if they had access to the healthier food, they don't know what to do with it.
Well, and it takes time. It takes knowledge. It takes education. So it takes the ability to know, what are the best foods for my chronic disease? How do I cook these foods? How do I prepare them in a way that's going to maintain the nutritional aspects of it? And it's a lot. It can be a lot. And I think that's why I say I didn't know that I would learn as much about housing and now food as I just joined the food bank board. So I'm excited about continuing to learn on this journey. The stuff that they're doing is amazing.
Right?
To support. It's such a huge area too. I know that they represent us in the northern Shenandoah Valley, but Charlottesville, Loudoun, down south towards. It's such a vast area. And the mission that they have to make sure that nobody goes hungry and everybody always it's just.
Yeah, I've talked to Les several times over the course of the last several months, and I've already recorded the conversation that everyone's going to get to hear tomorrow. And the fact that they can take a donated dollar, and make 3 meals, and those meals are those healthier options for the families that are either coming to them directly for an emergency food box, or are going to Winchester CCAP, Front Royal CCAP, they're going to Highland Food Pantry, they're going to the cupboard in Strasburg. People are able to get food from that food bank that ultimately helps all of our communities.
Yeah, the programs that they have, not just just getting USDA food to the pantries. So what I learned is you have the food bank, and then the food bank gets food to the food pantries throughout our communities. And then there's a whole nother level of faith-supported organizations that are providing nutrition ministries, and it's really amazing. But the programs that they have just for direct donation programs, I'm learning the vocabulary, please bear with me. But the Walmarts and the Martins and the Food Lions of the world that have food that they need to get somewhere before it expires, they can coordinate all that. And it's
I know that comes through their partnership with Feeding America, which is the largest nonprofit in the country, and they set those up, and then the food bank takes advantage of them and then filters those down to the local food pantries.
Look at you.
See, I'm going to unseat you on the board.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Only a few years. I'm excited about this one.
Let's take a break. We'll say hi to some people that are dropping some things off, and then we'll come back and continue our conversation. Does that work?
Sounds good.
Okay, we're going to do all of that. We are sitting on the Camping for Hunger bus today. Live, Jason Craig is here with me, Senior Director of Community Health for Valley Health. I'm looking out in the parking lot. There's a ton of people out here, and that may or may not be my husband's yellow truck in the parking lot, Jason Craig.
We got away.
We're going to take a break and come back and talk more with him in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. We are live on the Camping for Hunger bus. It is parked at Royal Plaza Shopping Center until Saturday morning. So 24/7, Jason Craig. Somebody is sleeping on this bus station. Our fearless leader, Andrew Shearer, slept on the bus Tuesday night and last night, and sleeps on literally a yoga mat and has maybe a sleeping bag. When I was here last night,
cold on here.
It is cold. There's no heat. He refuses. He encourages us not to do things like have an electric blanket or have any kind of heating things on the bus, because the whole point is for us to understand what some of the people in our community that are food insecure are going through.
Housing insecure.
And housing, because usually those two sometimes go hand in hand. So it is very, I mean, it gets cold on the bus. But people have been rolling through, they're pulling up, they're opening up their trunks, they're handing us a check, they're handing cash, they're giving bags and bags of stuff. There's a ton of local businesses that have been doing food drives in their businesses, and then they're bringing them by and dropping them off.
Some parents with their children.
Wasn't that amazing? That is always very near and dear to my heart, that parents will teach their children at a young age the value of giving back and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of fun to be here.
It is. It's like watching TV.
I know, you're like a kid at Christmas. Whenever I said, hey, it's almost bus time, we get to go do the show on the bus.
That's it. I like it. It's good, and it's good to see. It's good to see the community coming out. It's good to be a part of this and to help talk about the things as a community that we face, but that we respond to. I think that's huge. Often we get drowned by the challenges that we might experience or the needs that might be talked about, but how the community responds has been really something that connects me to purpose in the work that we do, as partners. I mean, I look at you as being on the board at United Way, but also being a voice within our community that spreads so much good. And I think you hear firsthand, the wonderful things that people are doing all over, and I think that's part of our responsibilities to help people know and learn and educate and navigate, because there's help out there. And our community responds in such a wonderful way. How do we help them get to it sometimes?
I think that's the biggest thing that I have learned over the 10 years of doing the show, because I thought I was pretty dialed in to the community.
Too.
I mean, I was involved in nonprofits. I'd been in Kiwanis. I'd been in Rotary. I thought I was very much that boots on the ground we talked about earlier with the health department. And then I took over the show.
And you learn something new every
day.
And
I learned so many things. And things that I thought I knew that I was wrong about. And that's what I really enjoy, being able to have guests on the show, not just to necessarily dime myself out that I thought it was this, but it's actually that. That's where it becomes very valuable, because there are probably a lot of other people out there that think one thing and don't understand that it's really something else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the social network, the safety support network, community resources, those are all things that are there but complex, and the ability to navigate those with efficiency and be aware of the changing times is, who used to be open on Tuesdays is now open on Wednesdays, and who's open on Wednesdays is now, so it's just,
And why that is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people assume it's because they don't want to be open, and it's probably because maybe they don't have food on that day, or they don't have volunteers to cover certain things. And I think the other piece of this whole puzzle is when you begin the implementation of the things that you've learned from the community health needs assessment, that's also a very educational and eye-opening moment, because there are things that you find in that assessment that most of us might not realize. We may know on an individual level, but when that implementation begins and you start talking about what you're doing, we all then have an opportunity to jump on board and help you further that mission.
Uh-oh. Are we good?
Oh.
Okay. We saw tech support come in.
What did I do?
Push the English button. I think a perfect example of that is in the previous assessment we talked about access to care. And when somebody thinks about access to care, it's like, I need to get to the doctor and I can't get there, or they don't have doctors and I need them. And what we learned this time is people recognize that providers are there, but I can't get in them fast enough.
Right.
Our community is growing. Our community is aging, and while the community recognizes that we have the available supports that we need, sometimes there's just not enough of them. And so access to care took on a little bit of a different definition as we've gone from last year to the one that will come out. And so we're really looking at access to care and resources. So kind of what we just talked about, navigating those resources, navigating healthcare, how to support people in that. But as we've gone through what we're calling the CHIP process, right? So the Community Health Implementation Planning process, we had a group of the local FQHCs, the free clinics, the so a lot of community partners, a lot of stakeholders in the world of health access. And really some of the conversation was interesting because we really started to talk about healthcare workforce. And so it's not necessarily like what you would traditionally think of. It's how do we support people to get into healthcare careers so we have the people necessary to treat.
You've got to create your own pipeline.
Yes, and I thought it was so refreshing to see that conversation evolve into the fact that that we need to start working with our young people and our career shifters to find ways to support access to health. And so it was a very different conversation. We did talk about financial burdens to health access and things like that, but the conversation I felt like matured from last year to this year as we're talking about what we're going to do about it. Mental health is still there, and we understand that, and that's something that we'll continue to work on. Social determinants, we kind of rolled back a little bit and talked about housing, because food is in the kind of the physical wellness and nutritional health.
Right.
And so those are our 4 areas. So I guess a little bit of a glimpse under the hood here, but we're going to talk about access to care. We're going to talk about healthy living and active living and healthy eating. We're going to talk about mental health and substance use, and we're going to talk about housing and how we can support people, but not necessarily like. Again, we talked about access to care, but we're talking about housing, and as the conversations have really matured in that area, we've been talking about what are the barriers to individuals, and then what are the barriers to our communities for being ready.
Right.
So community readiness around the housing needs, as well as the barriers to the individual. So it's been pretty cool to kind of see the stakeholders come together and talk about goals and objectives for the community as they relate to those 4 need areas. And that community health implementation plan is in development. So that'll publish shortly after the beginning of the year as we continue to engage stakeholders, and that process is open to anybody. So
that's not a process either that you say, hey, it's open and now we're done.
Yeah.
The implementation process itself is a process.
Yep, and it's 3 years, right? So we're going to start with some goals and objectives, and we'll engage in what we're going to do, and then that's going to continue to evolve over the next 3 years through this 3-year period, and we will have an ongoing plan. So that plan will shift, and we will prioritize. And from a health system perspective, that's the areas that under our community benefit we'll invest in. So as we talked about the Phoenix Project and Warren Coalition, another pretty cool example of kind of a community benefit investment that we made was with PACA, Page.
Yes.
They have Alliance for Community Action. Picton Page.
Picton Page. I love this concept.
Yeah, and so Picton Page is, I don't know, this is probably just oversimplify it, but it's kind of like the Bombas model for CSA boxes, right?
I love that description.
So it's like you buy, once they sell 5, they can give 1 to somebody in need. And we're going to try to get that 4 and give 1 away, 3 and give 1 away. But working with the local economy, the local agriculture, and some of the other, because I think they were looking at how can we support the short-term rental market by having fresh foods available. So that's your CSA purchase, and so from a tourism perspective, lots of cool, and then you're able to then give somebody to one in need, and we can sustain that. So it's an initial kind of seed in order for them to develop a program that is sustainable and benefits the economy. Like, I think those are all wonderful things. It's food, it's economic development, it's tourism, and it's healthier people.
And here's the key that I don't think a lot of people give you, as in Valley Health, enough credit for, is that you have the street cred to be able to say, this is a great idea. Let us help you get it started. Let us give you some of the resources to get this up and running, and educate them and train them so that it can be a program that they continue to run on their own. They never would have been able to get off the ground without someone the size of Valley Health coming in and saying, hey, we've got this idea. How would this work to implement on your end? I think you guys do a fantastic job of starting those partnerships.
Well, and I think the cool part about this is it started years ago through a HRSA grant, where we started this, like, kind of what's now the CAT team. So the CAT team in Page County started as a HRSA planning grant and has evolved into what the chamber's able to do now through the CAT team. And I think that that's just been a wonderful way of how we were able to use, and I say we being the community as a whole. So there was multiple different stakeholders, but this, we got a HRSA grant. That HRSA grant turned into a nonprofit coalition that now has come up with a concept that went into a community health benefit program that now looks at sustainability, and it's like, and
it's the perfect.
I know, it's so cool. It's so cool just to kind of talk about some of these things.
Oh yeah, I remember when Andy came on board as CEO for United Way, and one of the first things that he did was he went to one of those CAT meetings in Page County, and he called me as he was leaving, and I swear we were on the phone the entire drive back from Page. He could not get over how organized they were and the good that they were doing and all of the things that were happening. And to be able to replicate that in other communities is going to be incredibly valuable.
Yeah, there was another one that was achieved as well through, which is Reach. Reach is a group out of JMU, so that's another partner in this whole process. And so Shenandoah had one. It looks a little different, acts a little different, but still same concept. We're going to bring the community together around the community needs and try to figure out ways that we can support in initiatives that are important to them. In southern Shenandoah County, northern Shenandoah County, we're working on different things. In Page County's, another community that has similar needs, but a different approach to get to them. And we've been fortunate as a health system to be able to serve in all those areas, but also kind of invest in some of those communities, and it's been really cool to see.
So as we wrap up our conversation today, explain to me what it is that people can do. Like right now we're sitting on the bus, and all week we've been asking people to bring food and monetary donations to benefit Front Royal CCAP. What do you want people to do over the next 3 months? We get into January and the results and the assessment is public. What can regular one-on-one people do? Can they just read it? Can they reach out to a local nonprofit? What do you hope happens?
Yeah, so I think it will publish. It'll publish on our website. It'll publish on our website. It'll publish on the Department of Health website. Those plans will be there. If there's something you're passionate about, just ask to get involved. I mean, I think there's nonprofits that are stakeholders in this. There's community members stakeholders in this. There's other organizations that are all going to be part of that. We're going to have hospital-based metrics because some of those areas are important, and they're things that we know that we need to take primary on. But there's many different community-based metrics and community-based initiatives that'll come out of this that we want people involved in. We want our local governments involved. We want our local organizations involved. We want our community members involved. We want the nonprofit community involved because it's going to take all of us.
It takes a village.
It takes all of us. It takes all of us to support and help people, to get where we want.
Where we need to
be. And it's everything, right? So it's everything from those, food insecurity and housing insecurity, which we've talked about, but workforce development. How do we support people
who want to be nurses, who want to be community healthcare workers, who want to do all of these things,
or who want to be in the trades? I mean, that's
right?
One thing that's misunderstood about. I mean, just us personally, we have a need for trades as well. Yes. It's not just doctors and nurses.
I had that conversation with Chris Rucker last night. People won't hear it for another 2 weeks, but we had that exact conversation. So, okay, so before we go, question for you: what are you doing tonight?
What am I doing tonight?
Yes, I'm not asking you out on a date necessarily, but I am guest bartending at the Hideaway Cafe tonight.
Are you?
With Andy Gale from United Way Northern Shenandoah Valley. So people that are listening want to know more, want to understand more about the Community Health Needs Assessment. Andy has a pretty good working knowledge of what it is, but you just want to know what your community needs and what the nonprofits need. They can come watch me. Apparently there's a special drink in my honor. I don't know what it is yet, and I'm not sure that that's a good idea for them to put me in charge of making something like that.
So, how long are you going to be there?
From 5 to 7.
Okay. So, while I wish I could, I leave Front Royal and I'm driving down to strategic planning for
Blue Ridge Area Food Bank.
For Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, and I probably won't be back in town until after 7.
All right. Well, then people will just have to come see me.
People come see you. I know you can speak to it. I know Andy can speak to it. You guys are great partners in the community. And, I mean, just reach out. Reach out. I mean, people can reach out to me, jcraig@valleyhealthlink.com.
And I'll put links to all of the things in the show notes page. Thank you for coming to hang out with me on the bus. I appreciate it.
You are my favorite.
All right, Lonnie Hill, cue my music because we got a minute left and then we're going to bolt.
Thank you, Janet, for having me and representing our community. I do appreciate you.
I will encourage everybody, bring some cans of food, bring some boxes of spaghetti. If you're going to buy something that is a mix, remember the oil. Remember, you can't really bring eggs to the bus, although in this weather, we probably could get away with keeping some eggs on the bus. But please make a donation. All of the things that we collect this week will benefit the Front Royal CCAP. And the bus rolls out Saturday morning, so your time is running out to be able to come and do that. I will be back tomorrow with that conversation with Les Sinclair from Blue Ridge Area Food Bank a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.